So we'll be together for the next 90 minutes approximately. So just a little bit about me. So this is my background. Basically, I'm a professional certified coach. I have a coach. I have a Master of Science in Philosophy and Anthropology, which I conquered in Italy. And I've been working in the corporate environment since the year 2000, mainly as a leadership and teamwork specialist and trainer and a coach, which is mainly my work today as well. And then there's my job as the founder of the Nature Coaching Academy, where I teach coaches how to coach in connection with nature, and I will tell you more. And I'm also the author of a book that I published more than 10 years ago, 15 years ago actually, about wider states of perception. And that was the final dissertation of my master's degree as well. So we will see across this meeting as well, how the theme of the wider states of perception and entering through mindfulness and nature connection practices, entering a wider space of perception and of consciousness is really crucial to benefit from nature connection, also in a coaching session. This was my very first workshop about nature connection more than 10 years ago. After having been experiencing and exploring nature connection throughout all my adult life, now it's for more than 25 years actually, I decided to start sharing some of the things that I found. So this was my first workshop actually it was in my garden. And from then until now, I've been working with really lots of people, and this is one of the photos of one of my most recent workshops pre-COVID. Unfortunately, now it's going to restart. These are some of the trainers I work with at the Nature Coaching Academy, and I've been also speaking at Converge a couple of years ago about nature coaching. These are some of the coaches that we graduated. We are graduating also. And so the first edition of my school was in 2019. And so here we are with this forest coaching session. And I will also make you a little bit more, I will be sharing with you a little bit more about what also is forest coaching in particular. So this is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about why nature connection, why working with somatic and ecosomatic intelligence for coaching to benefit our coaches, our clients during a session. We'll see some definitions, and of course, we are going to practice. So for this, what you need is a tree, like I said, possibly near you or in your mind's eye. You will need a notebook for your reflections. We're going to use it after the practice, after taking time for that. So in case you don't have it, you have a couple of minutes to take it. You need 90 undisturbed minutes. I see that some of you are connecting from your house, which is great, because this will make you feel at ease. Also moving your body and doing some things with movement that I will tell you in a few moments. And of course, you need an open mind, a curious mind, ready to explore silence, embodiment, and nature connection with me today. I just remind you that this is not really a coaching session because of the nature of this session. It's a global group workshop actually, but the practices that we are going to do together can of course be used within a coaching session as a self-discovery and self-reflection practice, or even as a workout, as a proposal for our clients to explore and practice between between sessions actually. Of course, the opportunity to propose these practices within a coaching session or in general to your clients depend on their goals. And so it always has to be agreed, of course, within the coaching framework in general. So why should we even talk about nature connection when we do coaching? Well, let's first clarify what I think, what in my experience is nature connection. And here I like to recall, maybe some of you already know him, John Young is one of my mentors and teachers about nature connection that I've just recently discovered after having worked for so long on the same themes. And he says, he's American, he says, nature connection is not just about being in nature for a certain time. It's the quality of your presence and the attention you pay to nature that makes it impactful and that makes all the difference. So it's not being in nature, it's feeling a sense of interconnection. It's feeling at one with nature. It's experiencing, this is my personal definition and experience of deep nature connection. It's experiencing a sense of belonging, of interbeing with nature and life. It's about expanding our states of consciousness, embracing nature's genius, as you're going to see in a few moments. So nature in this approach is a subject, it's not an object. Nature, in my way to do coaching with nature, is the co-coach. It's not just a simple background of the coaching dialogue. And by the way, please forgive me if my English is not so fluent. As I told you, I'm Italian. So in order to get here, we need, and that's how we practice nature coaching also in a coaching session, nature connection also in a coaching session. We have mindfulness and contemplative practices. We have embodied practices, and we have other practices that are about creativity, creating a sense of adventure, and also community practices to share what we found. And this, of course, is aside from the individual coaching session, but may happen to be in nature coaching workshops, for example. So for small groups also. So nature coaching integrates mindfulness, ecosomatic practices, nature connection with self-reflection and coaching dialogue in synergy with nature. So for me, what's important is that the coach also has a nature connection practice or routine in place so that he can propose the coachee, the client, what he knows, what he has already or she has already experienced. So by integrating in a coaching session these kind of approaches, we aim at achieving a widened state of consciousness and self-perception, which creates a better interconnection between left and right brain hemisphere. I will tell you more about the evidence-based researches that back these sentences in a few moments. So these creates endorphins and dopamine in our brains, which lead to increased self-confidence, better emotion regulation, and all these improves systemic thinking, long-term thinking, and also better decision-making. So these are just some brief statements, just some of them among a very big body of evidence-based researches that I have collected and studied, and that I can share with you after this workshop. I will send you an email with lots of papers backing up these sentences. The side effect of doing all this work, so exploring this kind of practices, obtaining this kind of effects, leads to a sentiment of affiliation with life, which is called biophilia, which means the love of life. And this also leads to an embodied sense of belonging and co-participation with the natural world. Of course, we all know that we are nature, but knowing it on a rational mind level is different than feeling it. and having an embodied sensation of that. And that's what makes all the difference, because then when we have a feeling of belonging, of being nature, we will do everything to protect it. And so a growing body of evidence-based research is also demonstrate that the more you feel connected with nature, the more you awaken your biophilia, and the more you will take care of the environment, and you also develop pro-social behavior. So I think that we all need to be more ecologically respectful, and that the planet is asking for us to be much more aware of the impact of our behavior. And so nature connection and nature coaching can really be powerful ways to amplify our awareness around how to better take care of ourselves, of our relational fields, and ultimately of the life of the planet. In this slide, I'm synthesizing some sentences from this body of evidence-based researches that I will share with you after this session. So each of these sentences is backed by a scientific research. Nature connectedness leads to a boost in our immune system and in the health of our brain and our body, improves emotional regulation, reduces rumination, stress, anxiety, and depression symptoms, increases creativity, problem solving, decision making, reinforces pleasure, enjoyment, and a positive attitude, improves listening, focus, attention, mood, and empathy, and the sensation of happiness and subjective well-being as well. Nature connection also increases the imaginal activity, self-awareness, introspection, complex information processing. As I'm mentioning all these things, I think you are already reconnecting these benefits with the impact that nature connectedness can have on a coaching session efficacy. It increases proprioception and body awareness. It allows intuition and insights to emerge. It leads to the emergence of flow states, so those states that are characterized by high level of attention with low sense of effort and high enjoyment. And it also leads to improved motivation and a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, which is of course linked to resistance to change and habits conservation. And this is the last piece that I was mentioning a moment ago. So nature connectedness fosters ego decenteredness, I decenteredness, and so awakens a sense of belonging and a desire to contribute, which leads to pro-environment and pro-social behavior. So these are just really brief, some short examples of all the benefits that we can achieve by integrating nature connection with coaching. And this is a research. These are some results that Professor Maurizio Zollo, he's a professor at Bocconi University, but also in another university in the UK. And he's researched 89 managers doing 30 minutes of meditation, mindfulness meditation, versus a control group engaged in 30 minutes analyzing data. The research was aimed at assessing the impact of mindfulness versus general data analysis on the efficacy of their decision-making process. And that's what he found, he and his team. He found that meditators took decisions that were more long-term oriented, that were more stakeholder oriented, more socially responsible, and more aware of the systemic impact of that decision. So I think this is another very important piece of research that should motivate us to integrate a little bit of mindfulness, possibly in connection with nature during our session, our coaching sessions. So after reviewing some researches, some science, let's move into the intelligence of our bodies and the intelligence of nature. And for this, I would like to quote 3 pieces of definitions by Andrea Olson in this beautiful book, which is called Body and Earth. Andrea Olson is an American ecologist, author, educator, and she was teaching for many years in a university the ecology and anatomy in the same lessons. So teaching the body by teaching about the planet, which is, in my opinion, brilliant. These 3 definitions are really foundational to my approach. So this is why I'm reading it, also to explain you what we are going to do in a few minutes together. So she says, body refers to what it means to be human. The parts may sometimes be referred to individually as soma, soul, spirit, psyche, physical body, intuitive body, energy body, thinking body, mental body, or collectively as person, self, I. In our study, the word body is an inclusive term referring to the whole being. So by saying body, we say everything that is I, that is me. Then earth. She says, earth refers to all aspects of our planet. The parts may sometimes be referred to individually as atmosphere, ecosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, geosphere, mantle, crust, core, or collectively as Gaia, globe, planet. In our study, earth is an inclusive term referring to the whole planet. And I love this piece. The body is an aspect of the earth. Last piece of definition, place, refers to a particular part of the earth that we know through the direct experience in the body. Relationship to place is a process of assimilation without which there can be no understanding. It is through the interaction with specific landscapes and environments that our movement patterns, perceptual habits, and attitude have been formed. As we reflect on the places that shaped our lives, we recognize that body affects place. We design the places where we live, where we work, where we stay. Body affects place, and place affects body. We are impacted by the genius loci, by the spirit of a place, by the energy of an environment, of a room, of a place where we live or work or stay, in a constant process of exchange. And maybe you can recollect in your memory some places that make you feel so good, even indoors, and some places that don't make you feel so good. And so this is like a signal that some kind of exchange is going on between you and that place. So through these 3 definitions, we get here to talking about ecosomatic intelligence. So somatic intelligence, in my definition, is the intelligence that belongs to our bodies. Body in the definition that we've just read together. So all of us. The intelligence that belongs to the life of ourselves, of everything that is us. And it's the natural ability that we all have to orient ourselves among life's challenges and cultivate self-actualization. This is an ability that we share with all the other living beings. So ecosomatic intelligence is the intelligence that we can access when we intentionally connect with the wider intelligence of nature, nature's genius, by deeply connecting with a specific place, element, ecosystem, or living being, just like we will be doing in minutes with a tree, for example. So somatic and ecosomatic connection practices are really the foundation of my approach to coaching and coaching with nature. So in my approach, the nature coach is a facilitator of connection between inner landscape and outer landscape. So between inner nature and outer nature. So by working with nature and what we are going to experience today is just a very, very short sample of what we can do, working with our focused attention, with our mindfulness, with our embodied presence. We can really find that bridge between our embodied intelligence, our somatic intelligence, and the intelligence of nature, and reconnect ourselves with the wider fabric of life, getting to all the benefits that we've just seen in a few slides before. So before moving into practice, just a small overview about nature coaching, forest coaching, what is it exactly, to give you the framework that is behind the practices that we're going to do together. I'm not going through the definition of the International Coaching Federation because I can imagine that you all are quite aware of this. So let's move forward. So we have, I just evidenced the partnering process concept in the standard definition of coaching by the ICF. And so now I'm bringing this concept in connection with nature. So my definition of nature coaching is an approach to coaching developed in connection with nature, not in a simple presence of nature, with nature as co-coach. So the scope is restoring human beings to their natural ability to take care of themselves and their whole relational ecosystem. Forest coaching is an approach to nature coaching focused mainly or solely on the connection with trees and forest ecosystems. So some foundations of my approach is that nature is the co-coach. What does it mean? That it offers a mirror and an opportunity for dialogue between inner and outer landscape. We are doing exactly this today with the tree. So we are going to move our awareness into self-inquiry in synergy with the tree. So you're going to experience in a moment exactly this point. And also this one, of course, the awakening of somatic intelligence integrates powerful questioning to enable feeling, awareness, responsibility, self-actualization, and change. Nature connection, nature forms body work. We are going to do it as well today. And ecosomatic activation practices. We are all doing this together today with me. Support and integrate the coaching process and dialogue. The natural environment can constitute the setting, both indoors and outdoors. The nature coach uses a language rich of natural metaphors and images and nature-based visualizations and experiences. So we can do nature coaching even online, although it's not as rich, of course, as doing it in person in a natural environment. But nature coaching is also really shaping the mindset of the coach by using metaphors and language and words that recall natural cycles, nature's genius and natural elements. For me, it's about life-centered learning. So the coach facilitates the coach's ability to nurture and support life in his or her life, in the life of the people around him and the wider context of nature and non-human living beings. So we work in systemic thinking, in circular thinking. So this is the framework behind what we explore and experiment at the Nature Coaching Academy. And today we are focusing, of course, on this environment, so the forest and the tree, which presents specific core themes. So we will be connecting with the tree, and therefore we will be probably awakening insights, reflections, or personal inquiries related to these core themes: presence, growth, personal alignment. The trees, in my experience, are really mentors of alignment between our more embodied, more materialistic, the more materialistic side of our life, and the more spiritual, the more aspirational aspect of our self-actualization process. So personal alignment, alignment between feet, our belly, our hearts, and our minds is another way you can decline this concept. Self-orientation, so being able to orient ourselves among life's issues. Trees are masters of silence, of breathing, of stillness, I would also add. So oftentimes when we work with trees, we work around stress management themes and well-being themes and practices. Trees offer us a place to reflect on rooting, on blossoming, flowering, and giving fruit in our life. So these are some of the core themes we will be playing around today as well. So here we are. After this brief overview, it's time to start practicing. So in a moment, I will be stopping sharing my screen and we will be together practicing. Just a brief overview about the first practice. It's about awakening your body, your breath, and the feeling of pleasure throughout your body. We will be moving from attention outside, so from attention to this screen, to the words, to the slides, to my voice, to attention inside. So we will be doing this movement of recollection inside of ourselves. I will invite you to tune into yourself, to find your, let's say, your vibration, your wave today, your pace, how you really are feeling now in the present moment. So it's going to be a moment of stillness, a moment of mindfulness, where you will take your mind back to your body and your body back to your mind. So we will be doing this, we will be building this bridge between your intentional attention and your bodily sensations. And pleasure in this first practice is really key. I like to define pleasure as the way that life signals to us that we are on the right track. When we feel pleasure, we are doing something good to us. So the pleasure I'm talking about is really the pleasure of our muscles, of our breathing, of our structure, of our body.